welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Proud to be here with you up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com. I appreciate you being here with me where sports meets life inside of these Great Lakes Honda City studios. I appreciate your patience this morning, and I want to thank Great Lakes Honda City because I had to get my car inspected, and they were absolutely positively phenomenal. They got me in early, they got it done quickly, and so I want to thank Ron and the team in service for being really just on it this morning, and definitely personally shouting out Ron. So thank you so very much for working me into the schedule before my show and getting everything set. And I appreciate being here with all of you this morning. So today, inside of MomPawsPopcorn.com is what's popping, giving you the list of topics and guests of the day. I'll start things off with my reaction to the college football playoff rankings that came out by the media in the AP poll. As you know, I'm a member of the media. I do not vote in this AP poll. I get to vote in a lot of national polls around the country, including in the world of college football. I do not vote in the AP. It would be wonderful if I had the opportunity to do it, and I would embrace it someday, so I do want to let that be known. So we will talk about my reaction to the AP polls top 25, and then in hour number 2, I'll be joined by Bill Cook, who will honor his son, Andy. They just had their Memorial Golf Tournament, which meant the world to me. I am so grateful that my dad came out and made the time to be there. I appreciate the support of my mom and my dad, and I really just enjoyed being able to celebrate Andy in a unique way, a special way, and I thank everybody that showed up, right? What do they say? 90% of it is showing up, and they had over 40 teams. They had almost 200 people that were playing. I mean, it was more than 2 teams per hole, which is incredible. It grows every year, and I can't wait to have Bill here because he's a good man. He's a strong human being, and him and Jeff and Maryland, I mean, they endured something that's impossible to describe, and having a child pass away, a brother pass away, and it's hard, man. There's never a good time to lose a good one. That's what I've realized in life is there is never a good time to lose a good person. I mean, my grandma was almost 101. She taught me the best things I know. The best things. She taught me how not to hate. She taught me how to handle people that treat you poorly. Taught me how to be the bigger person. She taught me how to have faith in a storm. She taught me how to be open, to be honest, to be real. Most importantly, she taught me that God never fails. And I remember something she said to me. I asked her about, I don't know, we were talking about my grandpa. And she said, I had him right here, right in the palm of her hand. And I said, did you take advantage of him? She said, no. She said, I had him right here. She could have done whatever she wanted. And I said, did you abuse that? She said, nope. And I said, Grandma, how come you haven't dated? It's been over 3 decades. You're a beautiful person, inside and out. You have so much to give. It would be easy for my grandmother to find someone that would love her dearly. And I'll never forget that she said, where can you go from the best? Like, where's up from the best you can have? She dated him, married him, and honored their bond alive, and she honored their bond after he passed. She loved him so much, and it was so real, that she never dated again, saying, when you have the best, where do you go from there? You know, I am so grateful for good people. And with Bill sitting here today, I'm probably going to get emotional because he's a good man. And he's such a giving person. And you think about what the Cook family went through, and then you see the community just show up. Baldwinsville, Central New York, upstate New York, people from out of state, people that cancel plans and shift plans and move things, people that make it work in their schedule to be there because they know Andy, because they know Jeff, because they know Marilyn, because they know Bill. And I tell you, this show is where sports meets life, and we talk about sports, and we will talk about sports today, but we also talk about life. And I value people like Bill Cook so much. He's been so supportive of everything that I've done for many years. I never asked for it. I didn't even know Bill. When Bill started watching and listening to my show and supporting me, I didn't know anything about him other than he was the father of Jeff Cook, and Jeff had been on the show before. So I thought, okay, he's watching because, obviously he supports his son, and he wants to see his son on the air, and I get that. And then it became him supporting me, and then it became our bond and our relationship. So to have Bill in the studio today, I'm very grateful for that. I look forward to it. But before that, we got to get into the college football rankings, and you know how I feel about some of these things. So this is the AP. This is what the AP did in their preseason poll. Preseason polls are interesting to me because there's no games being played. I think a lot of it comes with logo bias. And what I mean by that is when you look at some of these teams, you look at some of these logos, they're there no matter what. I mean, I could tell you Ohio State's going to be ranked 1 or 2 most years. Why can I tell you that? Because there's a logo bias. Now, I want to be clear about something. Never once have I said these teams aren't good or they're not deserving. When they go out there and they do the work, I'm not sitting here saying Ohio State's not going to be good this year or can't be good this year. Everybody's 0-0 right now, so let's be real. Anybody could be good this year. There could be there could be teams that shock you, and there could be teams that are ranked high and they do just as good or better than where their ranking was. Either one can happen. But there are certain teams that get put in places no matter what. Ohio State being ranked 1, that is no surprise to me. Now, I think Ohio State's a good team perennially. I think Ohio State can compete perennially. And I was there and covered them all the way on to the College Football Playoff National Championship a couple seasons ago. So it's not that, in feet to the fire, people asked me who I thought would win the College Football Playoff this year. And before a game's been played, Ohio State was probably the clearest name that came up to me. But I always find it interesting that, they're ranked so high every year, right? And we'll see. They're going to get tested against Texas on the road in the second week on September 12th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. They have Ball State and Kent State on both sides of that Texas game. I'm not concerned about those for them. Then they have Illinois at Iowa, might be a good game. Maryland hasn't really been relevant in the Big Ten. They're at Indiana, which will be a test on October 17th. They're at USC, who, USC hasn't done much of anything in recent history, but, they're ranked in the top 15 this year. They play Oregon at home in Ohio State, and Oregon's ranked second in the country. Again, I don't know why. And because Oregon really didn't do anything to prove that last year. And then they play Northwestern, who I don't consider a threat. They're at Nebraska. I don't consider them a threat. They change coaches pretty frequently. And then they play Michigan. So, and we'll see where Michigan's at. Michigan had a very simple schedule last year, and we're not really tested. Now, Michigan is ranked 16th in the country. I'm happy that they weren't ranked in the top 10, not because I hate Michigan or dislike Michigan, but they have no business being there. They don't. Well, Dan, they won the college football playoff within the last few years. Okay, that's all well and good, but Michigan last season had no business being ranked in the top 20, and so we're going into this year, and you hope that these teams improved, but in my opinion, Michigan is one of those teams that has a lot of work to do to get in the top 10. And we'll see what they do. I mean, we look at Michigan's schedule this year, and the Michigan Wolverines will play Western Michigan. They'll play Oklahoma, which will be a test. It'll be in Michigan on September 12th at noon Eastern time on Fox. They have UTEP. They have Iowa as well. They have at Minnesota. They have Penn State. They have Indiana on the schedule like Ohio State does, but they're playing Indiana at home in Beaver Stadium in Pennsylvania. They're at Rutgers, Michigan State. Those are non-threats and most of the time. And then they're at Oregon, UCLA, and at Ohio State. So Michigan and Ohio State actually have, in my opinion, on paper, the toughest schedule they've had in years. So let's see what they do from that. Oregon, to me, is a team that I've said a lot of good things about over the years. I've had a lot of positives about Oregon. I'm a fan of Bo Nix. Ranking them second in the country, though, to me is a little strange, especially with last year and how they ended their run. They got blown out by Indiana. They had a terrible offensive game against Texas Tech. They'll play Boise State. I think that's an immediate test for them. That's in Oregon. They'll play at Oklahoma State, who was terrible last year. They'll play Portland State, who I don't consider a factor in this. And they'll play at USC. Again, USC's ranked in the top 15. I don't know what they've done to put themselves there. And then they have UCLA and Nebraska, who are unranked, at Illinois, who was smoke and mirrors last year. They have Northwestern. And then they play Ohio State and Michigan back-to-back, at Ohio State and then Michigan at home on November 7th and November 14th. That'll show us a lot of who they are. And then they play at Michigan State, and then they play Washington, who they came over from the Pac-12 with. So Oregon will get tested as well. The good thing about Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan this year is wherever they're ranked, they're going to get tested more this year than they've been tested in the past. And that's a good thing. We take a look at Georgia and where the Georgia Bulldogs are at and assessing their schedule, which obviously they play within the SEC. So as we take a look at Georgia and these Bulldogs, a team that's been a contender more often than not in recent history, they'll have Tennessee State, Western Kentucky. Those are non-factors. At Arkansas, we'll see. Sometimes Arkansas likes to play spoiler. Then they play Oklahoma at home. That'll be a good game potentially on September 26th. They play Vanderbilt, who's gotten better under Clark Lee, former Syracuse linebacker coach, under Scott Schaefer. Then they'll be at Alabama, which will be a test for them. And that'll be interesting to see. Auburn will be a potential test for them, but Auburn went through a coaching change. And then they have Florida, who has struggled. At Ole Miss, who has a coaching change from a coach that was hired from within. Missouri, who was smoke and mirrors last year. At South Carolina, who hasn't been relevant. And then they play Georgia Tech, who had a good game against them a couple years ago. So We'll see with Georgia. Georgia, to me, has an easier schedule than the other teams I've talked about so far. So we'll see what that looks like when, things ultimately shake out this season, and how teams are versus what we think they could be. Notre Dame being ranked fourth in the country. Again, Notre Dame did not make the college football playoff, and then they acted like a crybaby and they didn't play in the bowl season, because if they're not in the college football playoff, then wah, nobody likes us. We're gonna punish everybody. And I'm not for that. It was a extremely childish move, and no one's going to change my mind on how childish that was. We didn't get what we wanted. Listen, you had 2 losses against 2 ranked teams, and you had 10 wins against teams that weren't as good as the 2 ranked teams that you lost to. One of the 2 ranked teams that you lost to had the same record that you had at the end of the year, and they had a head-to-head victory over you. You had literally, very simply and very easily, no argument whatsoever to get in the college football playoff, yet you complained, you moaned, you cried, and then you took your ball and you ran home. Runners are worthless waste of time. And so to me, I'm not saying Notre Dame is a worthless waste of time as an institution, and I'm not saying their football program is. I'm saying the action that they took deserves a timeout. 100%. And what did the college football playoff do? They pandered to Notre Dame. Now they're going to help Notre Dame. Now there's a new rule. 5 seconds after not letting Notre Dame in, now there's a new rule. And the new rule is if Notre Dame is ranked in the top 12 by the college football playoff in the final ranking, they get to get in. So we're living in an objective world where you have to win games, and then Notre Dame gets a subjective world where they don't have to do anything. They just have to have enough people on the CFP selection committee that like them late in the season. Must be nice. Must be nice to have a special set of rules. So they play Wisconsin, who's unranked and is a non-factor. They play Rice, who has gone through a coaching change recently. They play Michigan State, who's been a non-factor. They play at Purdue, who didn't win a game in the Big Ten last year. They play at North Carolina, who has struggled in their first season with Bill Belichick. They play Stanford, who could end up being one of the bottom 3 teams in the ACC. They don't play a good, strong opponent that would make me on the college football playoff committee even pay attention to them until October 17th, when they play BYU on the road. Then they play Navy, who they always beat. Then they play Miami again. We'll see how that goes for Notre Dame, if they'll moan and complain if they lose to Miami at home in South Bend. Then they play Boston College, who has had some good moments, but is typically a middle-of-the-road team in recent history. And it's typically a team that might win 6-7 games a year. And then they play SMU, who's going to be a true test on November 21st. We'll see how they treat that game. And then they play at Syracuse. They haven't been to the Dome in 100 million years. So, to me, what are we really looking at here when we break this all down? The reality of it all is it must be nice to be Notre Dame and to have the opportunity to only have to be ranked. Think about that. They don't have to do anything other than be well-liked late in the season. Now, granted, you got to win games, but do you? Because as long as you're ranked in the top 12, again, rankings are subjective. Rankings are not objective. I could do whatever I want in a ranking. I don't have to tell you why I ranked somebody the way I ranked them. I could just rank the way I want to rank. And what are you going to do about it? And how are you going to stop me? So, to me, these rankings are what they are. I'm going to choose who I like at the end of the day. Now, you hope that people are objective. You hope that people look at the wins and losses and actually look at things that make sense. But that's not necessarily going to be the case. All Notre Dame has to do is be liked at the end of the year. That's a really unfortunate thing that's happening. And if I was any other program in America, I would call BS on that because it's not fair. Let's take a look at Texas. Texas, this upcoming season, as I already stated, they will have, they will challenge themselves early. which is a good thing. They play in the SEC now, yet they're still willing to challenge themselves. That says a lot about Texas, because they could just say, we're going to play an SEC schedule, and then we're going to play a bunch of cupcakes, right? They're playing Texas State, which I don't consider to be a factor. Then they play Ohio State week 2. Then they play UTSA, and UTSA struggled recently. We'll see how that game goes. Then they're at Tennessee. They're against Oklahoma. Florida has struggled. Ole Miss is at home, which bodes well for Texas. Then Mississippi State, who's been a middle-of-the-road team. Missouri, who I think was given more credit than they should have. Then that's on the road. They're at LSU. We'll see what LSU looks like with Lane Kiffin now. Then they play Arkansas, who's played spoiler before, and they play at Texas A&M. So Texas, with Arch Manning coming back, there's a lot of hope and a lot of expectation. If this team loses to Ohio State, some people will be talking about how the season's over for Texas, which they would never say about Ohio State or Notre Dame if they lost in the first 2 weeks. Let's take a look at the reigning national champion and undefeated Indiana Hoosiers and their schedule. They're not ranked in the top 5. This is where, if I'm Indiana, now in the past, I thought Indiana getting into the college football playoff a couple years ago was ridiculous. And they played up against Notre Dame and they lost in the first round. Last year, they proved that they're every bit of good, right? Now, granted, they didn't have as tough a schedule as other people, but Indiana proved themselves last year. The year before, I didn't think they did enough. Last year, they showed it. You had a rematch with Oregon where you beat them worse than you beat them before. The game was over like in the first quarter. Now, we take a look at Indiana's schedule this year. They have North Texas, who has a new coach. They have Howard. They have Western Kentucky. And all of those games are at home. Then they play Northwestern, who's been a non-factor, at Rutgers, who's been a non-factor, at Nebraska. We'll see with Matt Rule what they do this year. Right now, they're unranked. They have Ohio State at home, at Michigan, back-to-back. Those are big games for them. They have Minnesota. They have USC. I think they're ranked too high. I don't really understand why USC is in the top 15 based on last year's work. I don't know. And then at Washington, we'll see where they end up. And then Purdue's their last game of the year, and Purdue's been absolutely terrible in the Big Ten. So if I'm looking at Indiana right now, I would say they have 2, maybe 3 strong opponent games as of right now as we look at the schedule. But if I'm Indiana, I would say, well, I think maybe we should be in the top 5, even if we've lost people as opposed to Notre Dame. But Indiana lost their quarterback. Here's the thing. When other schools have lost their quarterback, they don't move out of the top 5. Ohio State doesn't move out of the top 5 when they change quarterbacks. Penn State typically, even when their quarterback struggles and whatnot, like Drew Aller, you ranked Penn State so high last year. Drew Aller had not proven himself, right? Georgia's a team that can change a quarterback and stay in the top 5. Oregon obviously can show that they do that. But the 2 teams that play for the national championship are out of the top 5. Indiana 6, Miami is 7. Let's talk about Miami, and let's look at Miami's schedule. Miami has subscribed to their way of doing things. And their way these last 3 years has been, we're going to find a veteran quarterback in the portal. We're going to bring him in, hope that it works out. And then when he moves on to the NFL, we're going to bring in another veteran quarterback from somewhere else and see if he works out. They did it with Cam Ward from Washington State. They did it with Carson Beck from Georgia. And now they've done it with Darian Mensah, who is coming from Duke and playing for his 3rd team in 3 years after playing for Tulane when he started. Now, Miami will be at Stanford, which I don't consider a threat. Florida A&M, which I don't consider a threat. At Wake Forest, this is interesting because Wake could play spoiler, and it's on the road in Winston-Salem. They play Central Michigan, who I don't consider a factor. At Clemson, depends on where Clemson's at this year. Florida State, which I don't necessarily consider a factor. Pitt, we'll see what type of game they give Miami, but I think Miami's going to win that game. At North Carolina, I think Miami's going to win that game. We'll see where Bill Belichick is in year 2. And then at Notre Dame, that'll be a big test. If Miami beats Notre Dame again 2 years in a row, they'll probably still have people saying they don't deserve to go anywhere because logic doesn't always come into conversation. And then Duke, we'll see what Duke looks like. Manny Diaz used to be on Miami's staff, was supposed to be that Miami leader, and got to be it for a little while. So we'll see what that game looks like. I think maybe that'll be better than people expect. Virginia Tech, James Franklin, if he can get things going early, that could be a good game. Second to last week of the season on November 21st. And then they play Boston College, who I don't think they're going to have a problem with on November 28th. So Miami will have some good things happening here. And we'll see what it looks like, but Miami and Indiana not in the top 10 or not in the top 5, and they changed their quarterback. So last year, 8 of the teams ranked in the nation's top 10 in the preseason AP poll had lost their quarterback. And I sat there and scratched my head and said, how do you know anything about where these teams are going to be with a new quarterback? Now, Texas A&M has Marcel Reed, and Marcel obviously has been there already. When we look at Texas A&M inside of the SEC, Texas A&M will have Missouri State, which is a non-factor. Arizona State, depends on where they're at. Kentucky likes to play spoiler. That could be an early upset. At LSU will be interesting with Lane Kiffin. Arkansas, who could play spoiler. Missouri, we'll see. Missouri, to me, still has a lot of things to prove. That's on the road. Then they play the Citadel in the middle of the season, which is no threat, in my opinion. They play at Alabama, which will be a good game. At South Carolina, which could trip them up. Tennessee, depends on which Tennessee shows up. Tennessee struggled to have a consistent season all season in recent history. And then they play at Oklahoma, which will be a good game for Texas A&M. And then they play their rival Texas game on November 27th. That game will be at home for Texas A&M. So a good schedule there. Ole Miss without the Lane train, a coaching change here. Sometimes a coaching change will drop a team significantly or take them out of favor. Well, Ole Miss is 9 without Lane Kiffin. And Ole Miss this season, we've already spoken about some of their games. Ole Miss will have the opportunity to face off against Louisville early on. We'll see how good Louisville is right out of the gate. Then they play Charlotte, who I don't consider a factor against Ole Miss. They play LSU, so they will go right up against Lane Kiffin on September 19th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC in Week 3. They're at Florida. I don't really consider that a threat. We'll see what Florida does. At Vanderbilt, that could be a good game. Missouri, seems like Missouri's on everybody's schedule. And then at Texas will be a good test. Auburn, depends on where Auburn's at. Auburn's kind of like Syracuse snowfall. If we have 2 bad years, we'll have a good year. Maybe we'll have 2 good years, then a bad year. That's what Auburn feels like. It's like they're not consistent in anything more than their inconsistency. And then they'll face off against Georgia and at home and Oklahoma on the road. Those will be 2 good games for Ole Miss. They have Wofford, non-factor. Mississippi State, I know it's their rivalry game. I don't consider it a factor for them. So, Ole Miss, we'll see. Again, coaching change, but they are ranked higher than where their coach went, which is to LSU. Lane Kiffin's team is ranked 11th in the nation. And Lane Kiffin obviously having to go in there and figure out his roster and figure out what makes sense. Who do you want there? Who do you want to bring in and whatnot? Lane Kiffin also dealing with the Jaden Daniels issue of a number 5 on their team, DJ Pickett, who's now going to be wearing Jaden's number. Jaden's number was not retired, so I'm a little confused as to why Jaden's upset about it. It's not like they retired it and unretired it and gave it to somebody. It's never been retired, so it's unique here, but we'll see. Now LSU plays Clemson right out of the gate. This was a game that has happened in recent history. We'll see what LSU can do in that game. Louisiana Tech, non-factor. At Ole Miss is a nice early test for LSU. Then Texas A&M at home is another good test. McNeese State, not a test. At Kentucky, I don't think is going to be an issue for LSU. Mississippi State, we'll see. At Auburn, depends, again, what Auburn team shows up. Alabama will be good for LSU. That game's at home in Baton Rouge for the Tigers. And then you have Texas, and then you have at Tennessee, and then at Arkansas, who could play spoiler. So the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season are really going to test LSU and Lane Kiffin's first year to see if they should be ranked in the nation's top 25, let alone the top 15 in the country. Number 10, rounding out the 10 to go back there for a minute, is Oklahoma. Oklahoma last year did some good things. last year had some stuff to build on, had some wins in their favor. Unfortunately, they had some losses as well that, to me kept them out of going to the college football playoff as an at-large team, because you look back on their schedule in 2025 and you say to yourself, okay, well, back in 2025, they had a win over Michigan in week 2. They beat Auburn when Auburn was ranked. But they lost to Texas. They lost to Ole Miss, and and one of those games was at home. The game against Texas was on neutral field. At Tennessee, they won when Tennessee was ranked, but Tennessee dipped after that. They beat Alabama by 2 points, so that was big. So you go back and you look at Oklahoma and you say, their loss to Texas and Ole Miss, Texas didn't get in. So how do you put Oklahoma in over Texas if Texas doesn't get in? And then, because the head-to-head victory there for Texas. So how can you put in a team over a team you're not putting in when that team in Oklahoma lost to the team you're not putting in Texas? And then they lost to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss got in. And Ole Miss gave Miami a pretty big scare. So, I think Oklahoma definitely should not have been in last year. I think the right decision was made. But we look at the Oklahoma Sooners this year. They play UTEP in New Mexico in the first 3 weeks. In between that, they play at Michigan. We'll see what the Michigan game looks like. The other ones I'm not concerned about. Then they play at Georgia and then Texas on a neutral field, back-to-back. They do get a break. Saturday, September 26th, they play at Georgia. Then they have a bye week. And then they play Texas on October 10th on neutral field. So they're games that are back-to-back, but there's a week in between. So that is definitely helpful for Oklahoma with those types of games. Not everybody has the cushion of a bye week in between the back-to-back. And then Kentucky at Mississippi State, South Carolina. I don't know if any of these are going to be factors at Florida to Oklahoma, but they do have a stretch at the end. They have Ole Miss and they have Texas A&M. Both of those games are at home. And then they'll face Missouri, and we'll see where Missouri's at. So Bill said Mateer's numbers slipped with the thumb injury. So we'll see what things look like for Oklahoma. They do have a stretch of games a couple times this year that are going to test them. But like I said, having a bye week between the Georgia game and the Texas game are huge, in my opinion, for Oklahoma's preparation. Texas Tech, this whole drama about who's their quarterback going to be and everything that went on there. Here we are looking at Texas Tech being ranked in the top 15. They're ranked 12th in the nation. And so, they will have a new quarterback under center. They were going to have a new quarterback under center if the other person that was trying to come in was in Sorsby, Brendan Sorsby. If he was going to be cleared to play, then he would have been the new guy. And now there's another new guy that'll be under center for the team. So, Texas Tech's starting quarterback right now, Will Hammond, is who we're looking at here and who I spoke with their head coach about, Joey McGuire, at the Big 12 Media Days down in Texas. So looking at Texas Tech's schedule, they have Abilene Christian. Then they have at Oregon State. I don't consider either of those games factors. Houston could be fun for Texas in the state of Texas, and Willie Fritz has them better, but we'll see. Sam Houston's not going to be a factor. I don't think at Colorado is going to thwart Texas Tech. Arizona State will be a good game at Cincinnati. We'll see, because it's on the road at Cincinnati. Arizona's gotten better. West Virginia, I don't consider a factor. At Oklahoma State, I don't consider a factor. Baylor, that's on the road, could be interesting. And then TCU in the last game of the regular season for Texas Tech. So we'll see what they look like. I don't think their schedule is as tough as some of these other ones, but it'll be interesting to see for sure how they fare in some of those games. It could be toss-up games, even if the team is unranked right now. Alabama, let's take a look at Alabama, and Bill Cook will be coming up momentarily. We will take a step aside for a fast break. But as we take a look at the Alabama Crimson Tide, the best thing I could say to you about Alabama is that you hope that they can return to where they've been in the past. You hope that they can rise. Alabama's had some good moments, but they got beat by Indiana, a better team in the college football playoff. They made it to the college football playoff. I think Alabama's name helps them tremendously. They have East Carolina, at Kentucky, Florida State, I'm not concerned about those games. South Carolina could try and trip them up because that's what they do, but that game is going to be played in Alabama. At Mississippi State, I'm not concerned about. But then they have 3 weeks in a row, October 10th, 17th, and 24th, where they will face Georgia at home, at Tennessee, and Texas A&M at home. The good thing is 2 of those 3 games are at home. The tough thing is they don't have a break in between. And then they will face, after a break, LSU on the road, then Vanderbilt on the road, then they have Chattanooga and Auburn. So I think Alabama's really going to get tested this season in October for sure. From really all of October for the most part into the early part of November, we're going to see who this Alabama team is and if their current head coach is going to keep that job. I mean, he comes from Washington, where he had the job, and speaking of Kalen DeBoer, and coming from the Washington Huskies, led them to the college football playoff when there was only 4 spots as opposed to having 12 spots now in the college football playoff. And, you know, he follows Nick Saban. Anybody who follows Nick Saban, that's a really tough thing to do by all stretches of the imagination. Alabama fans have expectations, and you're not Nick Saban, but they want to win and they want to. I mean, I was told by an Alabama fan, if we lose the national championship game, it was a bad season. Like, their goal is to win a national championship every year. So we'll see in Kalen DeBoer and what he's doing early on in his career at Alabama. BYU is another team to look at here. And Bill said last preseason AP #1 to win a championship was back in 2017. It's interesting because when the championship is played this year in 2027, that'll be 10 years. So we'll see if Ohio State ends up doing it this time around. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. Now, we look at BYU, Brigham Young, you look at their coach and how, allegedly Penn State wanted this guy and he ended up deciding to stay at BYU. And so when we look at BYU being in the Big 12 as an independent, they were doing their own thing, making their schedule like Notre Dame. Then they decided to join the Big 12 and they'll play Utah Tech. Not a test. Arizona may be a test on September 12th for BYU. And then they're at Colorado State. I don't consider a test. At TCU, depends on which TCU shows up. Iowa State, don't necessarily consider a factor. Then they have Notre Dame. BYU will play Notre Dame on October 17th. Then they're at UCF. Then they have Arizona State. Arizona State might be a test of those two. At Utah could be a test. Then they have Baylor, at Kansas, and Cincinnati. They do not play Texas Tech this year. Last year they played Texas Tech twice. They don't have them this year. So a little lighter of a schedule for BYU, but we'll see where they're at. And so what did Bill say? Last preseason AP #1 to win a championship 2017 was Alabama. Okay. So BYU, again, I think they have a lighter schedule this year. We'll see where they end up. They have tried to make a case of being in the college football playoff. Last year, I didn't think there was a spot for them. We'll see what they do. I would think they have to compete for the Big 12 championship and maybe win it to secure that they're definitely going to get in. What I find interesting here, and I've already talked about it, so I'm not going to belabor the point here, but USC being ranked 14th, where USC really hasn't been good in recent history, not consistently good. Washington, to me, is a big question mark. I don't know what wows they've done to be here. And Michigan, again, Michigan's namesake, they're not in the top 5 or the top 10, but I still kind of question putting them at 16. But they will get challenged this year more than other years. Penn State, they have a new head coach. And with Penn State's new head coach, this is another thing that we have to look at, right? Because they had James Franklin for a long time. He got his 100th win in their first ever college football playoff game, which he guided them to. So he got them to the college football. He helped to guide them to the college football playoff. Won his 100th game career-wise the day that they won in the college football playoff. So first time in the CFP, first win in the CFP, and his 100th win, all under James Franklin, and then they got rid of him. Now, they brought in Matt Campbell, as their head coach, and he was the head coach of Iowa State from 2016 to 2025, about almost a decade. He left as the winningest coach in program history. He was a 3-time Big 12 Coach of the Year in 17, 18, and 20. So, Matt Campbell coming in, it's not like it's an unknown name for Penn State, but when you look at Penn State and you look at where things are at with the Nittany Lions, their schedule this year: Marshall, at Temple, Buffalo, Wisconsin. Not concerned about any of those games. At Northwestern, not concerned about that game. USC, we'll see who they are this year. At Michigan, could be a good game for Penn State. Purdue's been terrible. At Washington, I don't see, again, why Washington's ranked in the top 17. Minnesota, Rutgers, at Maryland. What an easy way to end the season. So again, Penn State, you got an easy schedule, so if you take care of business, you should be in the college football playoff. SMU being ranked in the top 25 makes me very happy, because the ACC has not apparently been in the good graces of the AP recently. And so to see multiple teams from the ACC ranked in the top 25 is good to see, because I think SMU has done more than prove themselves over the last couple of years. They were a factor in the American. They came to the ACC, were a factor right away. They've been in the ACC for 2 years. They've been a factor for 2 years. And now here they are going into year 3. I have nothing but good things to say about SMU and Rhett Lashley. They've proven themselves. Now, SMU will be at Florida State, UC Davis after that. Florida State could be a trip 'em game. At Louisville in week 3 could be a trip 'em game. I'm not worried about UC Davis or Missouri State, who is week 4. Boston College, I'm not concerned about. Virginia, depends on what that Tony Bennett team looks like, but that game is going to be at home for SMU in Dallas. Cal, I don't consider a factor. At Syracuse, I think they're going to win on Halloween, speaking of SMU. Then they have Virginia Tech. We'll see what James Franklin's got at that point. Wake Forest, at home, could play a spoiler. They were a thorn in the side of the ACC last year. Then they're at Notre Dame, which will be a challenge, and at Stanford, which really, to me, is not. So I circle at Louisville, potentially at Florida State. I circle Virginia at home. I circle Virginia Tech at home. I circle Wake Forest at home, and I circle Notre Dame on the road. If this SMU team can take care of business, beat Louisville on the road, and definitely beat Notre Dame on the road, and not fall to Florida State in week 1, I think there's a lot to be said about this. Bill's got 11 top 25 teams last year, didn't finish in the top 25. Who are they this year? So he said 11 top 25 teams last year didn't finish in the top 25. I would say Clemson was definitely in there for sure. I'm thinking of the teams that I think Tennessee was dropped. Maybe Iowa, or Iowa could have been at the bottom of the top 25. I think they were one of them. LSU, I would say that they were a part of it. Texas definitely fell from grace, but they didn't fall out of the top 25. I don't think. I think they did at one point. And then the rest of the top 25, Tennessee, we'll have to see. Tennessee has done some good things, and then they struggle. They don't have their quarterback, Joey Aguilar. He's on the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. Utah has played spoiler. I have no problem with Utah being 21 or Tennessee being at 20, because, again, there's a lot to prove here. Iowa was considered a good game when Oregon beat them, when Indiana beat them, but let's see who Iowa is this year. And if they can do some good things on their end to showcase themselves. And, Iowa, to me, again, they're moving on from their quarterback, Mark Gronowski, as well. Houston, I like what Willie Fritz is doing. Them making the top 25 is big for the Big 12. Louisville being the third team in the ACC to make the top 25. I like Louisville because Louisville has played spoiler. Louisville has had success. And under their head coach, Jeff Brom, I honestly think that he's made Louisville a perennial contender in the ACC. And then Missouri in the top 25. I don't know if this needs to be here. I think maybe they could have spent that on a team from the American or the Sun Belt or whatnot, but they got another SEC team in here. So some things I disagree with, some things I agree with, but we shall see as we step forward. But Ohio State being number 1 and Oregon being number 2, interesting. And of course, Bill mentioning Florida State. Yeah, Florida State was ranked, I think, 8th in the preseason top 25, 8 or 10, and they fell out of the top 25 pretty quickly. So that's another one to look at. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Bill Cook will join me in studio inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to Buffalo, they're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds 1, maybe 2 people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer And we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
Where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at greatlakeshondacity.com. I am sitting here with Mr. Bill Cook. Bill here with me, and Bill, of course, on the heels of the tournament for his son, the Andy Cook Memorial Golf Tournament, which happens at Foxfire Golf Course in Baldwinsville, New York. Over 40 teams were there. Almost 200 golfers were out there. More than 2 teams per hole at Foxfire. A tremendous, once again, showing of the community, showing of love, appreciation, and goodness for your son, and obviously for, you know, his memory and all of that. So, Bill, first and foremost, good to see you, and
good to see you,
and happy to have you here to reflect on what it means, what the community did, and just, I mean, really to talk about the event itself. So I'd love to get your kind of immediate reaction after the event ended.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, but thank you for coming to the event. in interviewing the folks. We got the chance to look back at them, and it was fantastic to to hear the feedback from the golfers themselves. So very much appreciate that.
No, I mean that it was an honor for me that you asked me to do that. It was a pleasure for me that you asked me to do that. And I mean, and I've said it here on the show before. I mean, your family, and I said it this morning when I got started, you're genuinely good, caring, warm people. And, I wish the world had more of kind of those hearts. So it's easy to want to do something to help when you know that it's you. I mean, it's your family's just tremendous. And I think to me, it's a no-brainer if you need something.
Very much appreciated. Excuse me. And I suppose if we were bad people, that we wouldn't get that turnout. That's so, I guess it speaks volume by itself. I actually thought you were going to have me in the studio to talk AP Top 25 football this week. So
would you like to?
But you saw me give me feedback as much as possible while I was waiting. But I can talk about Andy all day long. I think you know that too, and the tournament. So we'll shift gears to there for now. Maybe we'll throw in a little bit of AP Top 25 before we close this out.
Yeah.
But I'll start with Andy. Ever since he was a little boy, to the day we lost him, he's very very sensitive guy. Always thoughtful, never mean, would take care of anybody, friends, family, strangers. Dog lover, took strays in. That's how we got Scooty. And sensitive. And one thing I'll say on top of sensitive, he was fearless. He didn't fear anything. I take a little comfort in knowing that he wasn't afraid of death. We had that conversation. I don't know why we would have that conversation, but I remember having the conversation one day. We're just talking about family, and maybe I was telling him that I wasn't really, I was a little nervous about dying someday, and he said, I'm not dead, and you shouldn't be, and it's life to death, and everybody's going to go through it. So I feel comfort in him saying that, and knowing he's probably in good shape, good hands right now where he is. So when I say he's sensitive, I think our entire family's sensitive. Marilyn's sensitive, I'm sensitive, Jeff's sensitive, our extended families are sensitive. So there's no crying on wake up call. So we'll do the best we can there. But the tournament, when we lost Andy, first of all, I had to make a lot of tough phone calls. One of them being to Jeff, which was the hardest thing in the world, to call him and tell him that on a phone, right? We're a long ways away. I'm in Florida, and he's here in central New York in Baldwinsville, and I have to tell him that his brother's passed. On the phone. So I immediately hung up with him, and I called a handful of his friends, and I said, you gotta get to Jeff as quick as you can. And I told them obviously what happened. And they were there. They were there, and probably double the number of people I called were at Jeff's house in no time.
Yeah.
So we had to sit back a little bit in Maryland and Florida because we had to take care of things with the funeral home and stuff. So we didn't get to central New York, Baldwinsville for a few days after we got all that wrapped up. Well, we did this happen during COVID, so we struggled with that. No services. I got a friend right here.
Yeah.
No services.
Lily's in the studio.
Lily's in the studio. Lots of my attention. It was 2020, so no services, or right when COVID started taking off hot and heavy. So we couldn't have services, so we decided to have services like calling hours at Jeff's house.
Yeah.
He was really nervous about that because you're not allowed to gather.
Yeah.
She's okay. Everything's okay. You weren't able to gather, and the police were patrolling and making sure people weren't having parties in yards and so on and so forth. So Jeff reached out to a couple police officer friends of his, and they said, don't worry about it. Do your thing. We'll just call if you have any problems. So it was 2 days of just a constant flow of people coming through, the community, the friends, the family. Holy cow. With COVID, going on. I can't believe the number of people that came through that door in 2 days.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, and it meant so much to us. So that next couple of days, you don't know what to do. This is a shock. We don't know how to act. We just don't know what to do. And Jeff and I, sitting on the couch one day at his house, and we started talking about what we're going to do. We want to carry on his legacy, his name. We can't let this be the end for Andy. So we decided, as golfers that we are, we would have a golf tournament. And then we started looking at dates, and we had it September. I want to say it was September 26th that year, the first year. So this past one was the 7th year, but he hasn't been gone 7 years because we did it right away. But we started developing logos, and you see the logo on the screen, and it ended up being an amazing logo. We got dates, and we sold it out. And that just said a lot about the friends, the family, the caring people, and especially in Baldwinsville, New York. Although people travel from afar, we had people from Florida and Virginia and Pennsylvania and Ohio and Alabama. We had a lot of people come from all over the place for this tournament. We struggled with it because we'd fill it up, and then a team or two would go down with COVID. Everybody was getting sick during that time frame. So, but we always had a backfill. So we sold it out, and every year since we've had it, we've sold it out. And I'm happy to say this last year, last weekend, we had 41 actually, because I made a blunder on the registration and missed a team. So we had 41 teams, 163 golfers. One was a threesome.
Yeah.
And we managed to get through it. No one complained. It's a long day. It's 6.5 hours of golf itself, and then dinner and awards and entertainment afterwards. But what a great success. Yeah. And adding you to the program was amazing. It was great. Marilyn and I just sat back and watched all the interviews the next day and laughed and cried.
Well, to me, again, seeing how your family came together for Andy, like you said right away, you did this tournament immediately. You did everything you could. It was during COVID. It was a really tough time. Like you said, you don't know what to do, because a parent should never be in this position. Mm-hmm. So how did you find focus? How did you and Marilyn keep going at a time where it just almost feels like reality's not real?
Yeah. So that setting up that tournament was really for, I don't want to sound selfish, for me and Jeff. We didn't know what to do. And we knew this would keep our minds focused on doing something really positive and really good. For Marilyn, strongest woman I ever met, she just made the decision, and we did collectively, that she's going to get up every morning, put her feet on the ground, on the floor, and say, I'm going to make it a great day. And she lives that way today, still 6.5 years later. For me and Jeff, we just needed to focus on something, and that tournament's a lot of work, right? So you're really busy and you're very focused. And that year we did the first one, we only had a couple months to get it together and get enough teams, which that was the easy part, because it's an amazing community and we have a lot of friends there. And we look at the Baldwinsville community as an extension of family, not just a community. There's so many people in Baldwinsville that are so near and dear to us, and we just love them all so much that they're our family. And just like Andy would have, we're there for anybody in the community as well. They're there for us, so we want to give back as much as possible, which is why we've kind of flipped a little bit of the narrative on Andy's, why we do this, in Andy's name, and added the Baldwinsville Christmas Bureau to give back to the community and help the people that really need help the most, which is also part of they do a lot of Thanksgiving dinners, so we support Thanksgiving dinners as well. But being able to give back because of what everybody's done, we wouldn't have got through it without the community.
Well, and like you said, your wife, Marilyn, that she just made a decision, hey, I'm going to get up every day, I'm going to put my feet on the ground, I'm going to have a great day. Do you look at her still today and think she's some type of superhero?
Yeah, she is. Yeah. Not saying it was easy for her to do every day.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And, I tell people that have recent losses, and if I'm talking to people, and we're always there, anybody in our family is there. If someone has a loss, and they know we've been through it, so they know we have that unfortunate experience. Days go by, and there's always in the back of your mind, but at any given moment, it could be in your foreface, and that's when you kind of lose things.
And for you, like you said, setting up the tournament gave you and Jeff focus. You're such a good person. You give so much. You have always gone out of your way for me. I told people this morning here on the show, like, I had Jeff on the show. You watched when he was gone the first time. I said, of course, that's his dad. That's supportive. That's amazing. And then you started supporting me too, and watching the show and being a part of it and connecting with me and building a friendship with me and coming out and seeing me at events and wanting to talk with me and knowing what was going on in my life and just taking an interest. And Marilyn took an interest and Jeff took an interest. And I look back on this and I say to myself, like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why take the time that you took? And you're one of those people that sticks out to me because I never expected to have, the relationship that I have with you that I greatly appreciate. And, it's funny because it's like, how did you meet Bill? And I'm like, he supported Jeff. And then all of a sudden he started supporting me. And I guess the best thing for me to say to you is thank you, but I never anticipated it.
Yeah. Started out with obviously Jeff on, I think it was a Pizza Man. I think they were talking preseason football, NFL, possibly. And enjoyed going to the show, but I learned quickly how amazing you are as a person. And just like giving back to Beeville, we love people like you that are genuine and passionate people and kind. So it was easy. You're very likable.
Well, don't always feel that way, Bill, but
I understand.
I definitely, there's a lot of things I think about. One of the things, and I know you said you're an emotional person, and I am too. And, it's easy to have that. And I've shown people here on the show my emotion because I am who I am. So
I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens today, it happens. It's going to be hard for me now to not let it happen, but Jeff is something special, and you can look into his eyes and see this incredibly powerful, good-hearted man, and you can also see a man that just hurts at the same time. When you called his friends and you said, like, you got to get to him, and they did, just what that meant to you.
Yeah, well, I think they dropped the phone because I know talking to Mallory, they were there in minutes. And it wasn't just the handful I called, it was double or triple that because they spread the word real quick and they were there. It meant a lot to me because we weren't.
And how do you, I mean, Jeff is, it's one of the first things I think he ever told me was about Andy. I feel like it's on the surface of his life at all times.
Well, we all talk about Andy as much as possible, and it's easy to do because he was such a great kid, and a great guy in his adult life. But first of all, Jeff was trying to be here today. He had a commitment for work, and we got to do that, right? So I know he's missing being here right now, and he'd have a lot of good perspective, and I would have loved to heard it, but unfortunately he couldn't be here. But yeah, he's a great kid that went through it's his brother, best friend.
So I mean, I on this show I always try, with it being called Wake Up Call and Where Sports Meets Life, that this show is a lot more than sports to me. Yeah. I use sports as a vehicle to bring people together, but we have life conversations, and adversity it breeds opportunity, but it's hard. And how, I mean, for for you, like you said, you talk about Andy all the time, and Jeff does, and Marilyn does. How have you found a way to keep going? Because I think that was an essence of the golf tournament too, is it's just like, man, this Cook family just keeps on. And my dad even said, he goes, I don't know if I could have.
Yeah.
So
I've got a lot of friends that say that, they say, how do you do it? How do you keep going? But you learn quickly. You don't have a choice. You can't just, I've been easy to hit the bar and hit the bottle. I'll tell you that right now.
yeah.
But we chose a different path, a path that kept Andy's name alive and kept his legacy going. And here we are still doing it, and we're really proud of it. And you can't just take something like this and say my life's over, because you got the rest of your family. We can't die on each other. We can't die on Jeff or Marilyn or any of our friends or family. We got to stay strong and keep moving forward, and we're going to keep doing this tournament for as long as possible. And Jeff and I talk every day about how we're going to make it better. We hear comments from so many people that say it's the best tournament I've ever played in. Can't believe you guys pull this off every year. And we're saying, how do we make it better? And we're hard on ourselves. Jeff made a comment, said, we're so hard on ourselves because we missed a couple things this year and wanted to do a couple different other things to make it better. Didn't get it done. And we're like, darn it, shame on us. But then everybody's saying how amazing the tournament is. And, I've had friends say, we have a friend in Florida, he tells me you're the strongest guy I ever met to be able to do all this, keep going.
And I mean, so what have you learned about life, about loss, about adversity that you would say to somebody who's going through a tough time, whatever that tough time is right now?
Yeah. Look, everybody's gonna go through it. Not everybody's gonna lose a child. You're not supposed to, right? But I know people that have, other people that have, and everybody's gonna go through it. Lean on your friends, lean on your family. Don't become a recluse. Stay active. If you have to, I did. I buried myself in work. Just stay busy and talk about the situation. Talk about the loved one that you lost. Don't bury them. Talk about it all the time. It makes you feel better to talk about them. You're gonna cry when you're talking about them, like I am now, but you're gonna be better for doing that versus just hiding. And it's easy. You're gonna be sad. You just have to take that focus and flip it and do the best you can with it. And that's what we've decided to do, and that's what we do, and that's what I would tell anybody. And if anybody ever needed an ear, that's one thing about our family as well. Jeff's amazing at it. He'll tell his friend, if you need an ear, I'm here. I'm not gonna have an opinion. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm gonna be an ear for you, an outlet for you. And if you want my advice, you can ask for it, but otherwise I'm not gonna judge or say anything. So that's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it even connects you more. It brings you closer.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I guess what's one new thing in life over these last few years that you've learned about Marilyn, your wife, and one new thing you've learned about Jeff?
Well, Marilyn and I hit 40 years on Easter Sunday, which is a blessing right there, right?
God bless them.
And I think Marilyn and I learn new things about each other all the time, and I guess that's a good thing. My father-in-law, Marilyn's father, said you learn something new every day. It's a bad day when you don't.
Yeah.
So we continue to learn new things about each other, but nothing changes on how we feel about each other. Jeff persevered through this. I had Marilyn had me, and Jeff had Mallory, thank God. But he persevered through this kind of on his own. Thank God he had his friends, because we were so far away. But I just believe we're a very strong family, even though we're heartbroken, and we have this tournament every year, and it's pretty bittersweet, right? We don't want to be doing it, but we made the decision to do it, and we love that we do it. We have moments through the process of getting ready, and moments through the day.
Yeah.
But it's all good. It's all what we chose to do, and just happy we made that decision to do that. And your show is where sports meets the world, right? Like where sports meets life. We kind of needed that sport outlet with golf to help us get through this. I think I need a tissue if you have.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back here on Wake Up Call. More to come where sports meets life here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us, we're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously, we've lived here our whole lives. So it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us, because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, skipthecake, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicoli's.com. That's myaviccollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate like private events. Typically just big festivals such as like Taste of Syracuse, Food Truck Battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the State Fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact, and this is a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love, and me and my friends are the ones that run the truck, so it's kind of, we keep it's a tight circle in there, and we have like a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's baked potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Proud to be here with you, hanging out where sports meets life inside of these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And make sure Great Lakes Honda City, you go and visit them on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I'm here in studio with Bill Cook. We're on the heels of the Andy Cook Memorial Golf Tournament. We called it the Big A Game Day Classic, and I had the opportunity to speak with golfers about their favorite team, why that's their favorite team, as well as about Andy and about the family. Some knew Andy personally, some knew Andy through you or Jeff or Marilyn. And like you said, you got to watch the videos, you got to be a part of it. Jeff got to be a part of it as well. After the fact, having the opportunity to look at everything, I would just love to know what you took from it, from all of you watching the videos, of what people had to say.
Again, I thought it was amazing to hear the feedback, to know to go up to your booth and take time. Some people are shy away from stuff like that, and I'm sure there was a handful that did. And I know that it was a little shortened day, and apologies and sorry for your loss there. But the feedback, and all the feedback was pretty similar, right? They said a lot of the same things you said, that, you know, we're a great family, we're a sensitive family, we're a caring family, so it's not hard for them to support. Said a lot of good, funny things about Andy. It was funny to hear, and a couple of, you know, sensitive things about Andy that were tough to hear, even though you probably heard him before. But around the tournament, we're just going back to the tournament. That was an addition, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Skippy ice cream truck, although albeit people didn't want to mix their ice cream with the beer so much, it wasn't a big hit like you were, but it was great to have it there, and we'll probably do it again. We're trying to figure out how to make it better, like adding you this year. What do we add next year? What do we do about turn away teams? That bothers all three of us more than anything about the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We turned some away this year, as big as it was. We turned some away and had to say no. And some of them are, you know, been at the tournament, and just couldn't, for some reason, the last year or two, whether it was a vacation or a wedding or a graduation or getting your kids to college, whatever it may be. We couldn't. They had to miss, and we couldn't get them back in because it fills up so fast. So we are always brainstorming what we're going to do to make it better, grow it. I mean, I can see this thing being on multiple courses one day and meeting center somewhere. That's going to be down the road, but I can see Jeff and I trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Next year, incidentally, it's going to be August 14th. It was that between that and the 21st. We don't like to interfere with the fair. A lot of it's because of hotels that travelers come to stay in. They're there. They get booked up and they charge $150 more because it's a fair. And you get too late in August, the families are taking their kids back to college, or, you know, freshmen back to college. So we try to stay away from that. So it's August 14th, again, Foxfire. We have a website now. It's andycookmemorial.org. We're trying to figure out how to grow, you know, make that better. And thanks to Tammy Wriggling for putting that together for us. She's going to have us over to her house actually to walk us through how we do edits on the website. We want to be able to blog on there. We want people to be able to come out and put their comments on there. Marilyn made a good point too. We have a theme every year. You know, we've had red, white, and blue. We've had tropical. We've had college game day, college teams this last week. Marilyn had the idea to put it on the website, like almost like a suggestion box on, you know, who do you think, or, you know, please, you know, provide a suggestion on what you think the next theme should be for next year. And it'll be great if we get people on there and they're looking and they're going in there and they're picking a theme, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And just assume that we got even 10 people that looked on there and gave us an idea. That might be it might cover us for the next, you know, 8 or 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Of ideas.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of fun in the fact that, I mean, you think outside the box and, you know, trying to find something to do together. I mean, honestly, it's just, I've learned in life, and I've learned it really recently, we have to simplify our lives. I was an overthinker growing up, overthinker, constantly layering everything and trying to figure out. And then I got to a point where I said, you know what? Yes, life can be complicated, but I'm not going to be. I can't. I have to be very simplistic. I have to live in that world. And when things become overcomplicated, that's where I rattle. That's where I spin. That's where I lose myself, is when there's an overabundance of conversation about something where I'm just like, you know what? We don't agree on this. Let's go have pizza, or let's talk about it later. Or, I love you. And I think you learn that with family, you learn it with friends, you learn it in romance, you learn it in a lot of places. Where I learn it in business, where, I've sat down with a business before. I've given them an idea. They've turned it down. And then they've told me I wasn't doing enough. And then they brought up the same idea that they wanted me to do that I offered to do 2 months ago. And those conversations are hard, and you wonder, is somebody listening? Are they caught up in their own stuff? Does it have to come on? Sometimes people just have to say it. Like, if you say the same thing that somebody else says, they don't like.
They are upset because they didn't say it first.
Right. Like, they want to say, like, I've been in arguments with people before where we're saying the exact same thing, but they're not hearing it because they've already dedicated themselves to the fight. And I've said it to people. I'm like, I'm agreeing with you. I think, I've had a conversation with a family member before where I'm like, I've agreed with you for the last 15 minutes and you just can't hear it. Like,
Yeah.
Because you wanted to combat, and I'm just, I can't stand that stuff. And so, I think the simplification of, hey, we're gonna provide the silent auction. And not that it's simple to put it together, just saying, like, we want to do this. We're going to have ice cream. We want to have Dan doing interviews. Like, I feel like the constant needing to, instead of just saying, like, hey, yes, there's things we have to plan out. There's things that we have to bring together. But ultimately, this is a tournament to honor our son. We have a pool of people that we've worked on. If we serve them chips and crackers, they're still going to show up. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot to be said about what is the essence of what you're doing versus what is the minutia. Right. And there's a lot of things around it. But to me, it's like, I sat down with people. I didn't have, like, these are the questions I have to, and this is what, and then I just let it be what it is. It's like, I'm here for Andy. I'm here for Jeff. I'm here for Marilyn. I'm here for Bill. By the grace of God, I woke up this morning. That's all I had to know. And I feel like the older I get, the more simplified I become, of like, I just want to be around good people, and I just want to have a good time. And I just feel like you as a family, with all the intricacies of what you have to do and all the things you have to put together, at the basis of it all, it's very simple.
Well, I think this comes easy for you every year because you've been doing this for a long time. So sitting down with a crew of golfers that have been in the booze was probably real easy. But I wouldn't make it. I'm not trying to make it bigger. I'm trying to make it better.
Yeah.
And I'm the misses I've had. You learn something new every year, and we add something new. We change something new every year. And I think most recently I've thought that the misses that we have is our volunteers. Our volunteers are amazing. We get a lot of them. We're not lacking for volunteers. People step up. I told you the community steps up. Friends step up. Family steps up. My family was there from Tennessee this year, and some of them have been here 2 or 3 times. I don't get them together before the tournament. Help them by assigning what I think we should do. Get their opinion, get their feedback, and it's like they're here and can you do this? You do this. You do that, and I cause a little bit of confusion, chaos myself when I do that. So next year we're gonna have pre-tournament volunteer committee meetings, and try to get more ideas on how to make it better and faster. The registration process with 100 this year 63 golfers is a challenge, but it always works out. You said it. No one's coming there. Everybody's coming there to support us and Andy and the cause. They're not. No one's coming there to win it. Yes, they want to try to win it, but people aren't coming there. Their number one goal is come have fun, support the cooks, Andy, and the community, not win it. So, as I say that, and I say we're not going to get bigger and bigger, we give $10,000 back. We give $5,000, maybe $6,000 back to the community every year. We want to make it 10, 15, 20. And how do we do that? Do that with more sponsorships? Do we do that with, I mean, you can only have so many golfers on a golf course.
Yeah.
How do I get to that next layer of giving back to the community? Because we give back a lot. We think we give back. We like to think we give back personally a lot, right? So we go support. I don't go into Syracuse when I live here in the summers. I'm only here in the summer, and I go down to Baldwinsville and I support every community, every business down there. I'll go to dinner down there. I'll go to lunch down there. I go to breakfast down there. I don't go to Syracuse for all that. I go support the community of Baldwinsville, and we just want to give back. And I think we can get it to we're gonna soon. I think we can get it to where we're giving back more. $10,000 would be fantastic. Maybe not all in the scholarship. I think about the Christmas Bureau, and I shop for it. We don't just go give money. Marilyn and I and Jeff go shop the lists and lists. Tons of different stores to find them, online to find them, whatever it may be, to fulfill those lists. And one little girl last year wanted some kind of a Barbie dream house for like $300. We got it. That's what she wanted.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to be able to continue to do. And I want to take that 10, 15 families to 20, 25. I didn't get a lot for Christmas when I grew up. Never needed to, didn't care, didn't get a lot. But I would love to fulfill as many children's wishes as I can. And same with Marilyn and Jeff in the community. And the parents.
Yeah.
I think I told you we get these lists for all these kids, and this is sensitive Jeff, smart Jeff, says if the parents can't buy all these gifts for their kids, that means they're not buying them for themselves.
Right.
You have that list. And the Bureau didn't really have it, and they got back to us, and they went back to those families and went to the mom and then went to the dad separately and said, what do you want, what your husband want for Christmas, or what do you want for Christmas? And they gave us a new list, and we went out and bought all that. And we spent a day or two or more, but loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
Just like we loved that day, whatever it is, August 15th, when everybody's there supporting us. So we're going to figure out how to grow it, make it bigger, one way or another. Not bigger, better. Better to bring in more money.
And that's the thing, and in the essence of this is you did something to get you to focus at a time where you didn't know what to do. You created this tournament, and then you gain all this money that you give to other people. It's like you did this for your son, and then you just give right back into the community. This is not the cooks get richer. This is not the cooks pay bills. It is, here you are for us. We appreciate, like, I'm just looking at this whole thing. Like it's a giant undertaking where you don't have a paycheck. Like what you get from it is that everybody that helps you help somebody else with. It is literally an entire tournament and an entire just everything that you do with Christmas and like you said, Thanksgiving. Every single thing that you're doing in honor of Andy is to pay it forward to somebody else.
That's right. And to be able to do that in Andy's name makes us really happy and proud. That's why we do it.
I mean, I'm guessing that that's the type of person Andy was if you're doing it in his essence.
He'd be doing the same thing. No doubt.
Why? Why be a family that just wants to help other people? You help strangers. There are people that told me, that sat with me on the day of the tournament. They said, you meet the Cook family and like you're part of it. You're brought right in. There was one guy that said, I met my wife because of Bill and Marilyn.
Yes, you did. He did follow up with, I'm not sure if that's good or bad. But it's all good. Yeah. I always tell Marilyn I don't like being Cupid, but she gets me in that situation every now and then, but because it might fail, right? But yeah, I don't know what this is. We're wired that way. we moved away from the community of Baldwinsville, and it was all work related and trying to do the best we can, for our futures. And it all panned out, but we're back here in the summers. I don't like the winters so much, but we're back here in the summers, 4 months out of the year. We love to be here. We love going down and sporting the community. We love seeing our friends again. We spent a lot of time in those months getting ready for that event, and we enjoy it, and we just want to give back. We'll continue to do it. I always fear that there might be a day that stops, right? I've been going to golf tournaments since I was, when I was 18, right? Now 62 next week. A lot of golf tournaments. Learned a lot from them so we could pull this off, because I've had a lot of different golf tournaments, so pulling it off wasn't easy, just a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I was going with that, Dan, but it just...
Well, you said there was a fear that you have that someday it would end.
Oh, and I've gone to a lot of them that I went to for years after year after year that have ended, and I don't want this to end, I think we lose what we built if it ends, and we lose what the community benefits when it ends, and we don't want that to happen.
I mean, like you said, you moved away from Beeville, but Beeville never moved away from you.
No.
And, your heart always has your home.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back, like living in not in a different city, but living in a different state. And then saying, not only are we going to pay it forward and we're going to give it to people, but we're going to specifically give all of this money back to Baldwinsville.
That's where we raised Andy. That's where he went to school. Now, I wasn't parent of the year, father of the year when I moved him his senior year to Pennsylvania, but he embraced it, and later in life told me, Dad, that's the best move that ever happened to him. It made him a little bit more of a diverse person and opened him up. Jeff says the same thing. It just made us better people to go out and see not only Pennsylvania, the Atlanta area, now Florida for Maryland and I, to learn, meet different people and learn different cultures. And every one of those stops along the way had something unique about them that we may never have seen or got to witness or enjoy if we just stayed in one spot. So happy we did all that, but really happy that we're giving everything back to Baldwinsville, where we raised Andy. Jeff until he was, I'm going to say 7th grade, maybe 6th or 7th grade. So that transition was a little tough in the beginning, and then it went real smooth, and it was fantastic. But
yeah,
Jeff told me he moved to Atlanta. I told the boys, I said, I didn't think I'd ever tell you this, but I thought we'd be the empty nest, but we're going to be leaving. I got an opportunity in Atlanta area, and I want to take it. And they both jumped up and said, let's go. And here I'm thinking I'm going to leave them, right? And they said, let's go. And they went, And then one day Jeff said, Dad, I'm going to go back. And I'm like, wow, okay. I understand. I didn't like the areas either. So I had a short plan there.
Yeah.
So I said, go do your thing, man. Live your life. And we'll visit you. And you can visit us. So whatever you want to do. And the whole time, literally for a couple weeks, until the day he was leaving, with basically his car and his clothes and a few bucks, I said, well, I gave him some points for a hotel and some money for a hotel and food. And I said, just let me know when you get to Allentown.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not going to Allentown. I'm going to Baldwinsville. I'm like, holy cow, I didn't even know that. It was right till the bitter end, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he came back from Baldwinsville, and that kid won't leave here either. He's had opportunities to go a lot of different places for a lot of money. And he chooses Baldwinsville. That's where he grew up. That's where his friends are. A lot of family. Loves to have his kids go into the Baldwinsville School District.
Yeah.
It's got an amazing little community that's being built where he is. I think there's 30 kids in there now, and it'll probably be 60 before, next year sometime. So that's why we're here. Easy to do with Baldwinsville.
Yeah.
It's
And
not hard to come here at all.
if someone had never been to Baldwinsville, how would you describe it?
Very community driven. There's a lot of activity. People are friendly. Micron's going to make it crazy with traffic, but everybody get past that. But great school district, great people, great community, a lot of events. There's always something going on in Baldwinsville. whether it's for adults or kids or everybody in between. It's easy to get in and out of. It's easy to get to. It's close to the city. It's out of the chaotic part of the city, or the suburbs. It's got a great river that runs through it with a lot of activity. So just a lot to do in Baldwinsville, and a lot of good people. Really, a lot of good people.
You mentioned fear, the fear of something ending for the tournament, whatnot. How do you get past fear? Because a lot of people don't start something, don't continue something because of fear. And I have this belief that I always picture fear like you're walking down the street and you go to turn down an alley and the devil's there. And he goes, "Don't go any farther. It's too scary." And he reminds you of everything you've been through, every weakness that you have. But if you look over his shoulder, God is standing behind him, holding a gift box going, "Just walk by him." That's how I've always envisioned fear for a really long time now. I'd love to get your thoughts on the notion of literally like one step past fear is where, what do they always say? If you held on a little bit longer, you would have gotten everything you wanted or even more. So when you said the fear of like the tournament ending and whatnot, it made me think of the bigger picture of fear and how I always feel like fear is the devil's lie and it's his last attempt at stopping a blessing.
Yeah. Well, I look at fear as taking chances, right?
Yeah.
And having the ability to overcome that fear and having the ability to make that chance come to fruition. Moving the kids when they were in middle school and going into senior year of high school, I had the fear of God in me then, because I don't want to ruin these kids' lives. I want everything I want to give my kids the best I can. Part of going was to be able to give them the best I can, the best life I can, and be there. Not only am I always there, as a father,
yeah,
but, to give them a really bright future and give them every opportunity to succeed in their life is why I did it. But fear is taking chances, and fear is, that taking that chance is, what am I going to do to overcome that fear? How am I going to overcome it?
Yeah.
And I think I said earlier in the show, that's one thing about Andy. He was afraid of a darn thing. Nothing. Fearless.
And so when he got sick, like when everything happened.
When he got in the accident.
And when he got in the accident, yeah. Well, and the thing is, I don't even know the full story about all this because, I mean, and I don't know how much you want to share, because to me, I didn't know how sudden everything was. And in my head, I was thinking that something had happened to him health-wise.
Yeah, so
because it was early in his life.
I don't mind sharing it all.
Yeah.
He was he decided to move down to Florida with us and pursue a couple of jobs, and he loved the ocean, so he really wanted to get down there, and he did. If you look at the logo, that's a palm tree. The water ripples behind he took Scooty to the beach every single day after work.
Yeah.
Every single day, didn't miss. And then he'd go meet up with friends. He had a circle of friends after 2 weeks. I was like, holy cow, I don't have that many. I've been here a little bit longer than you. But we got together on a Friday night, and he went to pick up pizza for us. And he took Scooty with him, got the pizza. He was coming back. Somehow Scooty got down on the floor, and he unbuckled his seatbelt. He drove a pickup truck. He unbuckled the seatbelt and reached down to pick up Scooty and put her back on the seat. Before he even got his eyes back on the road, a bus pulled out, and the buses have the right of way. They just pull out, right? The bus pulled out from the bus stop. It was a city bus, not a school bus.
Yeah.
And he hit the back of it, 45 miles an hour, and he never got his seatbelt back on. So he did a lot of damage to his body. He had broken ribs, broken leg, put his tooth through his tongue, bad concussion. And when I tell you tough, he checked himself out of the hospital because of COVID that night. He woke up in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
First he said he wasn't going to go to the hospital, to the paramedics, and they said you have to go to the hospital, and he passed out, so they had to take him. And he got to the hospital, and he woke up with IVs and stuff, and asked the doctor what his injuries were, and he told him what he thought. Still early.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm out. He took his IVs out, and he got up and walked out of the hospital. He said, I'm living with my mom and dad, and I'm not bringing COVID back to my house. So we came home. We picked him up. I got a phone call. We were still looking for him at this time because no one had answers. It was just a tough time. The cops didn't even. They thought he went to Lakewood, a different hospital, instead of the one that's closest to us. But fast forward, he was home healing. I mean, this happened on Friday. He went to work Monday with all those broken bones. He wouldn't miss work. He was healing, and it was about 5 weeks later. He had a lot of pain. I got up and golfing because he wasn't back to golfing shape yet.
Yeah.
So I got up and went golfing. He woke up and he was having a conversation with Marilyn and his mom, and he said, "Man, I got a lot of pain in my chest." And she said, "Well, you need to go to the doctor." And he said he'd see how it went, and he thought it would go away. He didn't even know what it was. Well, that night he died. It turned out to be blood clots. The blood clots got to his heart. Pretty much, there was no saving him.
Yeah. But you tell this story, and it's like anybody else would have been laid up in a hospital for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, at least a week.
Yeah.
And he was on the way. We thought he was out of the woods. Actually, that Saturday, I didn't see him that day. It was Memorial Day weekend. He called me and said, "Hey, Dad, I think I'm ready to golf again. You available Monday to golf with Adam and I'm sorry, I just lost this. If he's watching this, he's gonna be mad at me." I said, "Yeah, if you're ready, let's golf. We'll golf Memorial Day Sunday or Memorial Day. It'd be great." That was the last conversation I had with him.
And now you have, so it was Memorial Day time, and now you have a memorial tournament where you golf, and because the next thing you were supposed to do with him was golf.
Yep.
Funny how things kind of came full circle.
Sure is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure is. Yep, that's how that all happened. So you know, when someone's sick, I'll be at the end result is the worst thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
But you can prepare a little bit.
Yeah.
We didn't have time to prepare for this at all. So, but we're here. We're going to keep going forward. We're going to be strong. We're going to support anybody who needs support. We're going to support the community. We're going to continue keeping his legacy alive. That logo is on so many things, including right here on my arm. It's good. We're going to keep it going and just keep his name alive. Again, we talk about him every day. I talk to him personally every day, myself. So that's where we're going to be focused.
So what do you say? If we could say something to Andy today, what do you say?
Well, I say I miss him, right? You can't look back and have regrets, right? You can. They're just gonna burn your mind and brain.
Yeah.
But I would say, I miss you, buddy. I know you're doing well. I'm sure you're doing well, and I know I'll see you again. I kind of live my life knowing I'm gonna see him again.
And faith, God, where does that play in?
I have faith in God for sure, and I have faith that Andy's in good hands right now with God. Grew up a Christian my whole life. Some would say, God took him from you, and I would say, hey, God needed him. There's something going on. There's a reason. I don't always love to hear someone say, a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old went to God because he needed him. But maybe they really needed Andy. I don't know.
As you get up, you talk to him.
Yeah,
You know he's in a better place.
I do.
You know the keeper of that place.
And he'll keep for the place.
So do you talk to God too, or is it more Andy?
Well, I talk to Andy a lot,
Yeah.
but I do talk to God too. Try to ask for his perspective of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because you can believe and believe and believe all you want, but no one really knows. No one really knows afterlife because no one's been there.
Yeah. So what makes you believe that Andy is on the other side of this?
The way my mom and dad raised me to have the faith in God and have the mother that I had that swore by God. So
How does he show up? I feel like God always kind of comes to you in a way that you're going to recognize it. So how does Andy show up to you?
to me, Andy, there's a couple signs I get regularly. First of all, we've seen his shadow in our house a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
It's as live as can be and as strange as can be, but we have, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm having trouble with something, or I'm mad at something, or doing something, or if I'm on the golf course and I get mad or upset or something, it could be the calmest day in the world, and all of a sudden the breeze will come up and blow right in my face. And I just think, oh, there's Andy telling me to chill out. I didn't see it this year. It's interesting because I watch for it every year. Every year since we've been having the tournament, there's been a hawk on that field, on that course. I didn't see it this year, but there could be many reasons why I didn't see it. But there's always a hawk. And one year I saw that hawk on 3 different holes. Almost like it was following me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do believe in the cardinal thing, right? Cardinals show up in our yard all the time now. More than ever. Maybe I didn't remember, or maybe it is just Andy or my mom or dad showing up. But if I'm in a challenging spot, or I need help with something, or I need to, in my mind, make a decision on something, I'll ask Andy. What do you think, buddy? What should I do? How do you think I should handle this?
And how do you feel like when you're making that decision and you say, hey, Andy, what do you think I should do? What happens on the road to you making the decision?
Whatever decision I make, I feel like he's weighed in on it in some way or another. Obviously I don't necessarily hear a voice,
mm-hmm.
but I get a wave of emotion that says, yep, that's what I should do.
What is it with your genes, Bill, that Jeff and Andy look so much like you and like each other?
Yeah. I don't know. Did you see the guys I golf with? I golf with my cousin, 2 cousins, and we're 3 peas in a pot ourselves, right? We all had the same dads.
Yeah.
One of them I had the same mom and dads were sisters. Our moms were sisters. I don't know. We talked about that on the course a lot. Me and my 3 cousins. The cooks are just built a little differently. I don't know what it is. Just like Andy, we're kind of like fearless guys, and people it just passes on over and over. And if you could see my dad right now and look at the screen, I feel like I'm looking at my dad right now. I look identical to my dad, and you didn't know Andy, but if I showed you some pictures of Andy when he was, say 20, 21, when I was 20, 21,
yeah,
you'd say, oh my God,
yeah,
he looked just like me. I don't know. It wasn't easy growing up being a cook. We learned to be positive. We learned to be, fight through life. We were never handed anything. If you talk to Jeff right now and said, what's cook luck like? He'd say, we don't have any luck. The only luck we have is bad luck. We feel like we have to fight for everything. Nothing comes to us. And I guess, I don't know, maybe that makes us better people. Maybe it makes us understand more. You don't get envious. Somebody else has better luck. So be it, you got better luck. We just keep carrying on and fighting. And I suspect Henry will be just like me and Andy and his dad someday. And he'll be sensitive, and he'll be fearless, and he'll be tough, and he'll want to give back to people and help people. I believe that, and I certainly hope for that.
Yeah, well.
And he looks just like Andy, by the way.
Yeah.
You saw Henry on Saturday, you were looking at Andy.
That's crazy.
And that's his middle name.
Yeah.
And Sydney's middle name is Andy, A-N-D-I.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Mallory for allowing that, and even with Sydney, I think it was Mallory's idea.
Yeah.
And she's a rock for Jeff as well.
And it's funny because Jeff told me a story. He said, I got this great opportunity, all money-wise, set up my family for life. And I went to Mallory, his wife, and he said, I sat down, I talked to her, and she said, I don't want to do it. And he said, okay. Like, that's genuine love right there. That was really special. He just told me that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I had this. I'm ready to go. We're going to do this. This is going to be great for my family. And Mallory said, I don't want to leave here. And he said that was enough for him to be like, all right.
Mm-hmm. It was Detroit.
Yeah.
So tough move to Detroit, but same weather as Syracuse. So it wasn't a climate thing. It was, and I think it was just kind of reassurance for him that she feels the way he does. So it was for her to say, I don't want to do it, made it easy for him to say, I don't want to do it. I don't know if he'll believe that or not, but
yeah,
I don't think there was even the conversation. She said, I don't want to do it. And he said, okay, we're not going to do it. Because I do believe that deep down he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's so hard when it's in front of you, right? It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was, we'll move you. It was game changing for the family. And they decided we're going to stay here and we love it here. And maybe we won't have as much money as we could have there, but this is where we want our kids to grow up and we'll make it work. And they will make it work. That's, again, perseverance. We'll just keep going.
You said you and your wife, Marilyn, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that I want to be surrounded by people that are smarter than me, know more than me, can teach me something. So as this show is where sports meets life, what would you say about how you build a good relationship, a good foundation, and a good marriage?
Well, it's a team effort, right? You're going to have bumps in the road along the way. You're going to have arguments. You're going to have moments you regret. But if you listen and you communicate, right? You talk, you care about one another. Yeah, that makes it easier. All that makes it easier. I know I have friends they lost a kid and they separated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We actually bonded more. We're there for each other, we listen to each other, we care for each other, and that just means a lot. She's the world to me. I probably gave her more reason to boot my butt out the door, but she stuck with me and I love her to death for it. And now I'm retired this last March and we're living the best life ever, and just right now we're living the dream.
On that, like you said, you hit those moments of adversity. How do you get through them? I mean, we live in a world where social media, TV, radio, everything tells us that everything's better. Go find something better. There's always going to be better. You can run away from adversity because there's something prettier out there. There's something more fancy, more expensive, more luxury. I mean, we're living in a world where adversity means it's not right, it's not good, right? And if you argue, if you have a tough moment, just take that as your exit and go.
We built the bond before, long before technology we have today, right? The social media and all that we have today. So we already had a really strong bond, and albeit social media seems to be running everybody's lives these days. We don't let it interfere. And you asked me the question about how you get through it. You communicate, talk it out, figure it out.
What about when you disagree? What about when you can't hear each other's points of view? What about when you just feel like nothing's getting through to that person? Because there's moments where,
sometimes you have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You just have to. Because everybody has an opinion. And there's no sense trying to change someone's opinion unless you can do it with facts. But if it's emotions, it's not going to happen.
And you said she should have booted you out the door, but she didn't. Why do you say that?
Oh, I'm sure I gave her a reason in the past. Arguing or coming back from a bar too late, or traveling too much, or going on too many golf trips. Whatever it may be.
I mean, Marilyn is the one of the three of you that I know the least about. I've been around her a little bit, but not as much as you and Jeff. So how would you describe her? I know you said she's your world, but as a mom, as a wife, as a person, as a grandma, if we needed to really paint a picture of Marilyn, what will we need to make that canvas come to life? What should we know?
We need a lot of pink. Gotta draw it all.
I saw that. I did
draw
see
it
that.
all on pink. But she's just sweet, smart, sensitive. I could go on and on and call her a name in the book, and I probably wouldn't cover it. She was the greatest mom in the world. Worked 2 jobs for a long time to help get kids through karate and sports, and we didn't have a lot when the kids were young, and she stepped up and did everything she could to help me. And I would work multiple jobs, whether it was my full-time job working, and then I would referee basketball and umpire baseball, softball, baseball, whatever it took to give the kids whatever we can give them. She was there for it. Up early in the morning and working late at night. Mm-hmm. And she's a great friend. I think all of her friends would say she's a great person. She doesn't judge. She doesn't argue. Mm-hmm. Just a sweet person.
Well, Marilyn, we appreciate you. Jeff, you know that I appreciate you as well. And of course, Bill, we'll take our final step aside here on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and we'll wrap things up right after this. Stay with us.
Big West, only the bold.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Club in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Get closer to the players that you love, the teams you love, the sports you love, as well as the games you love to play with Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, and more, along with soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, and football while supplies last. From singles and graded cards where you know what you're getting, to trying your luck with a box or a pack of cards at GG Cards and Breaks. They keep your kid's spirit alive, and there's always something fun to open and somewhere great to have it. This GG Cards and Breaks place is truly a family atmosphere, community-driven, and led by Josh and Anthony, who go the extra mile to do so many tremendous things and intricate details of running this card shop. It feels like home, and that's why I am more than happy to go to GG Cards and Breaks and put my money where my mouth is. So I look forward to seeing you over there today and every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, Bill and I here in studio want to thank you for being with us on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, you could find the show on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask Alexa or your Google device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. Many thanks to our incredible partners here in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes Honda City, as well as the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, the Baked Potato Express, where I have my own breakfast potato on their food trucks, Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, Skippy's Ice Cream, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own breakfast sandwich 7 days a week in Syracuse, New York on 3709 James Street, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A in Cicero, Avicoli's, Game Point Sports Complex, Willow Rock Pizza Pub, and the Willow Rock Brewing Company. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your OnTech Charter High School here in Syracuse, New York, bringing you student athletes, coaches, administration, and more through Wolfpack Mentality, which is every Thursday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and Leaders of the Pack, which is once a month with the leadership of OnTech Charter High School, a high school that cares about the relationship between student and teacher when it comes to class sizes, how they educate, what they educate about, and there are no districts when it comes to OnTech Charter High School. Anywhere in New York State, you are welcome to come to this public school and have an opportunity to not only play sports, but to learn in a very unique and hands-on way in a place that cares about innovation and cares about the mental, physical, and overall health of their students, their faculty, and the community. For more information, go to ontechcharter.com and go Gray Wolves. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining me throughout the years to tell their story as well as the greater story of the Bearcat family. You can find it all on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com, and for more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, as we always say here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, God bless, no stress, do your best, and I'm going to hand it over to Bill to have the final words today as he's with me in studio. So, Bill, whatever you would like to say, that'll take us out.
Well, first of all, shout out to three of your sponsors for participating in the Andy Cook Memorial Classic this year. Pizza Man, Wildcat, and Skippy Ice Cream all played a part in it, which we tremendously appreciate. As far as you're a good man. I appreciate you having me on the show. You went deep with me. You got me emotional, but I love it all. And thank you for doing it. Thanks for being with us again last week at the tournament. Look forward to doing something next year. Maybe we'll come up with another sports theme of some sort that we can and get a few more interviews from the participants. But thank you for everything you do, and keep being you and keep doing your thing, and I'll keep watching.
Thanks, sir.
Sorry we didn't talk about football a little bit.
No, you're okay. We will. We will soon. Everybody take care. Stay safe. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.